Have you ever wondered when the right time is to let go of someone who's no longer serving your life's purpose? It could be a partner, a close friend, or even a woman who's been in your life for a long time. In the journey of self-mastery, Stoicism teaches us that we must make decisions based on logic, self-respect, and emotional fortitude, rather than succumbing to destructive emotions like fear or anger. The question is not simply whether we should cut ties, but how we can make this decision with clarity and strength. Letting go of someone, especially if it's someone you've shared years with, is never easy. Yet the Stoic path calls for us to put our well-being above all else and protect our inner peace from those who disturb it. Let's explore 10 signs that point to the necessity of this difficult but crucial decision. As we walk through these signs, you'll begin to recognize when to take the courageous step and prioritize yourself. This is not about hate or bitterness. This is about strength. This is about freedom. 1. She disrespects your boundaries. In Stoic philosophy, personal boundaries are not mere lines in the sand. They are essential to maintaining our inner peace and sense of self. A true Stoic understands that their energy, time, and emotional state are valuable. They have learned to guard these resources with the same vigilance as a warrior guarding their fortress. When someone, especially someone close to you, consistently disregards these boundaries, it is not just an inconvenience. It is a direct threat to your well-being. Boundaries represent our values, needs, and limits. They are vital in maintaining harmony in any relationship, and when they are crossed repeatedly, we must recognize the signs. In a healthy relationship, mutual respect is paramount. But when disrespect becomes the norm, whether through constant disregard of your needs, repeated overstepping of personal space, or manipulation, you must be willing to take action. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control others, but we can control how we react to them. A Stoic does not allow themselves to be a passive victim of mistreatment. Instead, they cultivate the inner strength to recognize when a relationship no longer serves their purpose. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, reminds us, if someone is able to make you angry, it is your own fault. This means that while others can behave poorly, how we respond is entirely within our control. However, this control does not mean we must tolerate disrespect. When a woman in your life, be it a partner, a friend, or anyone else, continues to ignore or violate your boundaries, you are faced with a powerful choice. Do you continue to endure the disrespect, or do you assert your peace by cutting ties? A true Stoic knows that strength is not in enduring pain or mistreatment for the sake of others, but in protecting your own peace. Cutting ties when boundaries are disrespected is not a failure. It is an act of self-respect and emotional maturity. Recognizing that we have the power to protect our peace is not only empowering, but it is essential for our growth. In Stoicism, we learn that the external world can be chaotic, but we are the ones who determine how we react to it. So if your boundaries are continually being crossed, trust in your ability to choose the path of peace over the pain of tolerating disrespect. 2. She undermines your self-worth. A Stoic understands that true self-worth is derived not from external validation, but from an inner sense of virtue and purpose. The opinion of others, no matter how close they are to us, should never be the defining factor of our value. When someone consistently undermines your self-worth, it is an act of violence against your inner peace and stability. In Stoic thought, self-worth is not contingent upon praise, status, or possessions. It is found in living in accordance with nature, virtue, and reason. When someone close to you belittles your achievements, dismisses your efforts, or constantly makes you feel inferior, they are attempting to distort your internal compass. It's an insidious form of control, one that seeks to diminish your confidence and power. It's vital to recognize that such behavior is not a reflection of your worth, but of the insecurity and toxicity of the person who seeks to diminish you. According to Epictetus, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When faced with constant undermining, a Stoic will not fall prey to emotional outbursts. Instead, they will remain grounded in their inner strength and understand that their value is unshaken by external criticism or negativity. If you feel that your sense of self is continually being eroded, ask yourself, what is this relationship truly offering you? Does it nurture your growth and self-worth, Or does it constantly pull you down into the mire of self-doubt and insecurity? A true Stoic would recognize when the relationship has become toxic to their personal development and will take action to preserve their peace by stepping away. In a healthy relationship, your worth should be respected, not diminished. When this respect is no longer present, it becomes a sign to reassess the relationship. Stoicism teaches us that we must never allow another person to define our self-worth. It is an internal, inviolable truth that must be safeguarded at all costs. 3. She manipulates you emotionally. Emotional manipulation is one of the most subtle and destructive behaviors a person can engage in. A true Stoic recognizes that emotions are not inherently bad, but allowing another person to control or manipulate your emotions is a dangerous practice that must be avoided. When someone manipulates you emotionally, they are trying to control your reactions, thoughts, and feelings in ways that align with their desires, not your well-being. This could take the form of guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or making you feel responsible for their happiness or unhappiness. For a Stoic, maintaining control over their own emotional responses is key to living virtuously. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, taught us to rise above the noise of others and stay true to our principles, regardless of external circumstances. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, Marcus Aurelius reminds us. When manipulated, your thoughts and actions are no longer governed by rational thought, but by the whims of another person. This loss of self-control is precisely what the Stoics seek to avoid. A Stoic, recognizing emotional manipulation, does not react with anger or frustration, but with wisdom and composure. They understand that they are not responsible for another person's emotional state and refuse to allow their own emotions to be used as a weapon. Recognizing manipulation early allows the Stoic to reclaim their autonomy and avoid being trapped in cycles of toxic emotional dependency. In relationships where emotional manipulation is present, a Stoic will assess whether this behavior aligns with their values. If it does not, they will make the difficult but necessary decision to sever ties in order to protect their peace, integrity, and inner tranquility. 4. The habitual disrespect. No room for contempt in your life. In any relationship, respect should be the cornerstone. When this respect begins to erode over time, it's an indication that the foundation of that bond is crumbling. A Stoic knows that respect is earned, and it should never be given lightly, nor should it be taken for granted. If you find yourself constantly being disrespected, belittled, or taken for granted, it's time to reassess the relationship. A Stoic understands that we cannot control how others act, but we can control how we allow their actions to affect us. The wise person knows that their peace of mind and self-worth are not negotiable commodities. When the disrespect becomes a habit, it is a clear sign that the other person is no longer valuing you as they should. It's not just an occasional slip-up. It's a pattern, a repeated behavior that undermines your dignity and peace. A Stoic will recognize this as a breach of the unwritten laws of human interaction and will not tolerate it. Rather than harboring resentment or bitterness, the Stoic will calmly distance themselves from this toxicity. They understand that holding on to such negativity will only harm their emotional stability and, in turn, their ability to live in accordance with nature. Recognizing habitual disrespect is an act of self-care. If someone constantly shows you contempt, they are not serving your best interests. It is better to cut ties and protect your own mental health than to remain in a relationship that erodes your value. Let go of the toxic ties that weigh you down and embrace the peace that comes with knowing you deserve better. 5. She tries to control every aspect of your life. A relationship, at its core, is built on the foundation of mutual respect and understanding. However, when one partner starts to systematically control the other, the very essence of the relationship is undermined. Whether it's what you wear, who you spend time with, where you go, or even the thoughts you have, any attempt to micromanage is a violation of your autonomy. This kind of behavior is a red flag. In Stoicism, we are taught to remain steadfast in our own convictions and to exercise control over what lies within our own realm of influence. Our thoughts, our actions, and our emotions are ours to govern. Anything outside of this domain should not be allowed to disrupt our inner peace. When a partner tries to control aspects of your life that are not theirs to manage, it reflects their deep insecurity and need for dominance. You must not be swayed by someone else's attempts to overpower your independence. Instead, a Stoic will recognize the importance of protecting one's boundaries. The Stoic response is not one of anger or resentment, but a calm and deliberate assertion of one's own worth. True strength lies in your ability to stand firm in your own life, to assert your boundaries without aggression, but with clarity. If your partner refuses to respect those boundaries, the relationship is no longer healthy. In the Stoic view, we cannot control others. What we can control is how we respond to their behavior. If this control becomes too oppressive, it's crucial to remove yourself from the situation, regardless of the emotional pain it may cause. Remaining in a relationship where your autonomy is constantly compromised not only harms your growth, but it also perpetuates the toxic cycle. A Stoic values their sense of self more than any fleeting emotion or bond that would attempt to suffocate it. 6. Emotional manipulation, a dangerous game that breaks the Stoic spirit. Emotional manipulation is a toxic behavior that can quietly corrode the foundation of any relationship. It often starts subtly, with the person playing on your feelings, making you feel guilty for things you haven't done, or swaying your thoughts to make you believe you are the one at fault. As Stoics, we value clarity of thought, and emotional manipulation clouds our judgment, pushing us into a place where our reason is no longer in control. A Stoic believes in mastering their emotions, not letting others control how they feel. Manipulative behavior, however, targets the very essence of self-mastery. It is an attempt to alter your internal state for someone else's benefit, whether that's to gain power, provoke guilt, or steer you toward a decision you wouldn't normally make. If you find that someone is regularly trying to guilt trip you or twist your emotions to their advantage, it is a clear sign that this relationship is no longer beneficial. True connection is built on mutual respect and trust, not on a battle of emotional control. The Stoic response to emotional manipulation is not retaliation or confrontation. Instead, it is the recognition of the manipulative behavior, followed by the strength to distance yourself from the source. A Stoic maintains composure and refuses to let their emotions be used as weapons in someone else's game. In cutting ties with emotional manipulation, you are asserting your right to control your own mind and heart. You refuse to let someone distort your inner peace or pull you away from your purpose. A relationship built on manipulation is no longer worthy of your energy, and a Stoic would rather walk away than sacrifice their self-respect for someone else's emotional games. 7. When her actions drain your energy and spirit. The Stoic way teaches us the importance of protecting our internal peace and energy. When a relationship becomes a constant source of emotional drain, it is a sign that something is out of balance. A true Stoic understands the need to preserve one's emotional state above all else. If her actions continually exhaust you, whether through selfishness, emotional volatility, or disregard for your well-being, it may be time to reevaluate the relationship. Being constantly drained by someone, especially a partner, is a form of self-neglect. The Stoic would advise us to not allow external forces to disturb our inner tranquility. If her presence consistently leaves you feeling empty or less than who you are, then this relationship is compromising your well-being. It's essential to protect the self and preserve your mental and emotional reserves for the battles that truly matter. A Stoic doesn't accept the status quo if it's detrimental to their peace. We strive to maintain fortitude in the face of hardship, but also acknowledge when it's necessary to walk away to preserve that inner strength. You must ask yourself, are you sacrificing too much of your energy for a relationship that isn't nurturing your growth? This doesn't mean you should walk away lightly. Stoicism teaches us to be rational and not make decisions in haste. But when you've exhausted all avenues of constructive effort and growth, the Stoic will guide you to cut the ties that drain your energy and prevent you from becoming the best version of yourself. 8. Consistent neglect, when you're no longer a priority. One of the most telling signs that a relationship has deteriorated is the gradual neglect of your needs, emotions, and well-being. It can start subtly, with small instances where your needs are pushed aside or your voice is ignored. Over time, this neglect builds into a bigger issue. You no longer feel like a priority in the relationship. For a Stoic, the importance of self-respect cannot be overstated. We believe in the dignity of our own existence and the value of our inner peace. When we consistently place someone else's needs ahead of our own and endure neglect in return, we sacrifice our worth. This isn't just a sign of disrespect, but a silent message that we are expendable. In the Stoic view, we understand that true relationships are founded on mutual respect, where both parties support and care for each other equally. If your partner, whether it's a woman or anyone else, shows continuous indifference to your emotional and physical needs, it is a clear indication that the bond has been broken. When you are repeatedly neglected, you lose your sense of self-worth. You begin to question your value and why you should keep investing in a relationship that no longer nurtures you. The Stoic response is not to stay in such an unhealthy attachment, hoping it will change, but to recognize your own worth and take action. Stoicism teaches that no one, especially not ourselves, should tolerate such mistreatment. We must understand when to cut ties and reclaim our inner peace. By cutting off someone who constantly neglects you, you are asserting your own value and reclaiming your autonomy. You are choosing to no longer sacrifice your mental and emotional well-being for a relationship that no longer serves you. It's not about being heartless or cruel. It's about standing firm in your belief that you deserve to be treated with respect and care. 9. The devaluation of your opinions and decisions. When a relationship no longer values your thoughts, opinions, or decisions, it's a sign that your role is being diminished. At first, disagreements might feel like natural conflicts in any relationship, but over time, when your perspectives are consistently disregarded, it signals that the relationship is no longer a partnership of equals. This devaluation is more than just a difference of opinion. It is an indication that you no longer have a voice in the relationship. For a Stoic, the ability to make rational decisions and trust one's own judgment is central to maintaining personal autonomy. The Stoic philosophy encourages individuals to stand firm in their principles and beliefs, no matter the external pressures. If your partner repeatedly undermines your thoughts and choices, treating them as insignificant, it undermines your very essence. The Stoic response is not to engage in arguments or to feel diminished by this treatment. Instead, it is to recognize that the value of your thoughts and decisions must come from within yourself and not from the approval or acknowledgement of others. A true Stoic does not rely on validation from external sources. The focus is always on what is within our control, and we must accept that if someone consistently devalues us, it is within our power to walk away and protect our dignity. By choosing to remove yourself from a relationship where your voice is ignored, you are asserting your autonomy and reclaiming your power. You are no longer allowing someone to dictate your worth. In Stoic terms, you are rejecting the idea that your value should be defined by anyone else. Your voice, your decisions, and your life belong to you. When they are continuously disregarded, it is time to cut ties. 10. The constant erosion of respect. Respect is the foundation of any lasting relationship. However, when respect begins to fade, whether in words or actions, it signals a dangerous turning point. Constant disrespect, whether through dismissive attitudes, insults, or demeaning behavior, slowly undermines the bond between you. A Stoic understands that respect for oneself and others is paramount. Allowing another person to continuously degrade your worth is a violation of your core values. Remember, a Stoic's strength is rooted in their self-control. By practicing discernment and recognizing the signs of toxicity, you can cultivate a life of tranquility and fortitude. Choose to be around people who add value to your life, who respect you, and who encourage your growth. Those who continue to cause harm or disrespect your essence have no place in your journey. Let them go. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.